Good evening. My name is Dulce, and I'm gonna be giving a small 5-minute presentation about my research paper. The topic that I chose was climate change, whether it was fiction or fact. And in my presentation that I'm gonna give, I'm gonna be discussing two sides of the paper that I had to do. The people who agree that climate change isn't real, and the people who agree that climate change is real. And then at the end of my presentation, I'm gonna be giving my opinion. Many people are not aware of what the term climate change is, and they're also not aware of the effects that it has on the earth. My first part of my presentation is gonna be the side that agrees that climate change is real, and I'm gonna give 5 reasonable facts about it, and then the other 5 is gonna be about the other side that disagrees that climate change is real, and I use these facts throughout my research paper. Fact one is that people agree that it's important to capture carbon because that's a reason that it's increasing climate change. On the left, I have evidence that show that the atmosphere has been increasing since the Industrial Revolution, just in the 650 years. Fact number two is that the Industrial Revolution, humans have been producing so much carbon dioxide into to the Earth's atmosphere that the death toll has increased over 200,000. An interesting fact is that the Hiroshima bombing that happened since 1945 is still impacting us today, and it has caused cancer and other diseases linked to radiation poison. And I found out that it's still affecting us right now, but not as it used to. The Arctic Ocean is expected to become essentially ice free in summer before the mid-century, and it is it contributes to climate change because there's so much carbon into the atmosphere that it's melting the ice, and eventually all the animals that live in the Arctic, they're eventually gonna die and go extinct. Temperatures have risen 0.6 degrees, so it's not just affecting us, but it's also affecting animals and everything on living on Earth. Some factors of climate change is forest, wildlife, weather, and temperature. Global sea level has risen about 8 inches, and the average USA precipitation has also increased since 1990. My last fact is that climate change is an additional stressor in the complex side of threats facing freshwater ecosystems. Climate change is already stressing many freshwater species by warming their temperatures and shifting stream flow, ravages, and increasing extreme events like floods, drought, and wildlife that we could already see in the news that it's already happening. Like for example, the wildfires in California. Climate change isn't just affecting humans, like I said, but it's a threat into the global environmental and biodiversity. Now, moving along with the opposing sides, there's people that believe climate change is also fake. For example, the article that I read, they were comparing Frosty the Snowman as climate change because he was melting to all the pollution. But then someone replies and tells them, "Hey, stop thinking like that. Fake news, fake news. I stand with President Trump on this manga." He replies, even our president doesn't believe climate change is real, even with all the events that has happened. Like keep in mind, all the floods. In 2011, the Hurricane Matthew that hit the Carolinas, the wildfires that happened in California recently, and the floods that are just happening in Ohio. Some reasons that people believe that climate change isn't real is because of myths. For example, one of the myths is that climate change has been changing because before, and it's just a natural cycle, like the water cycle, that's just happened over and over. Some even claim that we're getting warmer because we're recovering from the last ice age. However, others do believe that scientists are using climate change as an excuse to easily scam people. Reasons that people don't believe that climate change is real is because they think that just because something hasn't gone to extinct, it's not happening. One of the articles says that the global ecosystem will be seriously affected with only 2 degrees warming, and they haven't seen that our coral reefs have gone to extinct fully. So that's one of the reasons that they don't believe that climate change. Lastly, in the article that I read was showing that people are aware of climate change, but they necessarily don't really care. They just want to get the work done. For example, they use fossil fuels. They're more concerned about fossil fuels and how rapidly they can get their job done. Um, Fossil fuels are used so much in our lives that farmers use it to be able to rotate the soil and feed thousands of people. So farmers will be no longer be eligible to use fossil fuels if they were to take it away. And towards another article, it says it will be a crime to go against humanity for government to force people to drastically reduce their use of fossil fuels. Pretty much saying fossil fuels are bad, but we need to survive. So either way, if it's affecting us, we're gonna have to do what we have to do to survive. And that's where people be like, "Oh, you're right. We really like it doesn't matter now because in the future it's not gonna affect us." And I guess that's how people like see climate change. Like right now, it's not a like we're not seeing so much impact, but later on in the future, we're gonna see like the big hit, and then we're pretty much gonna regret like polluting our the ocean. To conclude my presentation, I believe climate change is real. I would say that because weather has been like changed so much. Like in one states we see that tornadoes are already occurring there, but usually tornadoes happen during the fall. In other states, they're already experiencing floods, and they usually also occur during the fall. And not just that, but like my family was impacted by the Hurricane Matthew, and my mom has been in North Carolina for like 17 years, and she says she has never experienced something like this. And I believe it's because of climate change. It's not climate change isn't gonna like impact us like big. It's just gonna it's gonna start small and eventually expand, like with the Arctic ice. It's melting like slowly, but that is making like near the coastals to make their water rise, and that's having an impact to the families that live near the beach because usually floods happen there. Also, people that live in Japan, they experience so much tsunamis, hurricanes happen, and I believe it's because of climate change. Um, Thank you for listening to my presentation.